Hello everyone. So today we're going to do a bit of training analysis. So I've been making some looking over kind of some reviewing training for the year and looking over what hasn't worked for people and what ways we might want to direct stuff. And that's got me on to doing is just looking at some charts here of what whether people are responding more to volume or intensity and how that's changing their EF. So when we talk about EF, we're talking about efficient heart rate efficiency factor. So if we go on to let's just go on to me here and we go and compare some intervals ICU. So let's click on compare. So one thing I don't like about the efficiency factor on here, I haven't figured out how to change is, so we're trying to start making a new custom graph. So click on that and then just say it's put on this y-axis. If you go efficiency factor, so it's giving normalized power divided by heart rate. So I would prefer that if I had average power, although in this particular case, perhaps there's something in using normalized power because then it reflects that your heart rate does tend to be higher when there's some intensity on the ride. So it's not a perfect it's not a perfect metric, and there's lots of things that are going to throw off both your heart rate. But generally, so we're looking at efficiency factor, as kind of a proxy for your a lot of whether your central adaptations are improving. So we'll go more into that in a minute. But it kind of works quite well because if your heart is bigger, um, uh, then if your heart is bigger and stronger, then it's going to be able to pump more blood with one beat. So your heart's not going to have to beat as fast. So to go at any particular power output, you're not going to have to have as many beats per minute. So in general, you can see that that's something that to want to you're going to want to be higher, and is generally is a better thing to improve. So that's something, yeah, you want to look. So conveniently, it also EF is also ejection fraction, which is the amount of blood that your heart pumps out of the left ventricle with each heartbeat, which is also kind of correlated to what we see with um, so yeah, it's quite close to stroke volume essentially, because your end diastolic volume, how much heart blood is left in the heart after the heart is beaten. Uh, that's not so changeable. So um, yeah, kind of like if as your ejection fraction improves, then so is stroke volume. Um, so there's quite kind of I just thought that was kind of quite neat that it also EF also stands for ejection fraction, which is also efficiency factor. Um, so anyway, let's delete that chart because I'm not going to do anything with that. Although, yeah, no, I'll delete that. Okay, so go away, delete, yes. Okay, so first of all, I started looking at, so this is just example, this is me here, we'll start off with. Um, does more volume mean your EF gets better? And this I was quite disappointed about. There's not really much correlation there at all. So these are both moving averages. And it's a 42-day moving average. I played about with, changing the duration of the moving average, making it, shorter or longer. For example, when you look at so yeah, and then we look. Uh, I try and stay on track here. So, if anything, with me there, it looks like there's a bigger slightly more of a correlation. Intensity is having more of an effect on my EF versus my volume. So, but with me, none of those correlations seem to be that strong because I guess at this point I'm reasonably well trained. So, we look at some of my perhaps sort of lower volume clients, for example. Um, let's have a look here. Or we'll just first we'll just go through all my clients And so does more volume or more so yeah, even in a lower volume client here, we can see that does more intensity improve your EF? Yeah, that's pretty clear. Does more volume improve his EF? Yeah, like maybe a little bit, but it's still that there's a pretty rubbish correlation there. Um, but because this particular person is slightly lower volume client, you could maybe say there's still a bit of correlation. But as you can see, intensity there's pretty good correlation there. More intensity, better EF. So now let's just go and have a look at some another clients. So an example here. Uh, so is volume helping this person's EF? No. Is more intensity helping their EF? Yes. Pretty. That's not. It's not a great correlation, but that definitely is, and you say that pretty much definitely isn't. So that's in someone who's doing a bit more volume. Let's have a look at another higher volume client here. Um, compare. I apologize, this is quite slow, but just follow me through, and this is some juicy findings. So again, similar thing. Volume helping there, yeah. Not really. No, is intensity, and this is over 42 days, so it allows for fatigue, and to settle settle down, and so it's a long enough period that you can it's seeing the effect of the training you've been doing in the last few weeks. I think 42 days is like a month and a half or something, isn't it? So you can see the effect that the training's having, and it's also not too long of like legacy effect. So I think it works. It works pretty well to kind of see the effect the training's actually having on the EF. And like you see again, volume no effect, intensity yeah, a bit of a good effect on EF. Let's get someone else now. Uh, so then this was one quite extreme example coming up. Um, this client can often they can train a good amount, so but and I changed their training a lot from what they previously did. So as you can see with a lot of people, yeah, I get them doing a bit more volume. But this red line here is the volume they've done this year. So then let's have a look. Is is the volume helping their EF? No, it looks like it's even possibly making it worse. Last year they were doing less volume and their EF was better. Looks like they were also doing more intensity and their EF was better, and more intensity was helping their EF. So I'm thinking, have I really screwed up here? Like I was, yeah, I just that made me feel quite bad. um, so then I just yeah, so we'll just get some more examples, just a few more. So we can get some more to illustrate the same point here. Um, so yeah, as you're starting to build a picture here. I'm starting to think, is this focus on higher volume? Am I just totally way off? So again, with this person, yeah, not really. Neither is particularly helping their EF. Although it seems in the past you can see they've been doing more intensity. So there's more. It's higher. This kilojoules over FTP is what I've been using in my proxy for intensity. So moving average of kilojoules over FTP, and here we've got moving average of total work. So that's just all volume done in kilojoules. So yeah, again with this person, the volume's not has made there more volume there has there's not a great correlation. Yeah, more intensity. So as they're doing more intensity, is their efficiency getting better? Mm, I don't know. Not really. I mean, yeah. Okay. So then one last example, the same thing. Have a look at this individual. Compare. So this person, again, pretty clear response there that more intensity is making their EF better. I mean, yeah, again, none of these are great correlations because humans are really quite complex systems and there's lots of other things going on at the same time. But yeah, more intensity, better EF. More volume and better EF. This person, slightly lower volume client, yeah, maybe there's a bit of correlation there, but that's really not great and it's certainly not as clear as that. Okay, so I was feeling pretty despondent there that, oh my God, have I really, just made these people slower by getting them to do more volume and, you know, when intensity is the only thing that's making their fitness better? Well, no, because then, well, does does a higher EF actually mean a higher FTP? Well, in this person, a slight correlation, but that's not that great. And if we look at most people, let's take, say this uh, low volume client here. Um, uh, does higher EF mean higher FTP? Not really. So I'll try and just not go through everyone so much now. Um, so just using to use some fewer examples to illustrate the point. But then I start looking at does does more volume does more volume increase your FTP versus does more intensity increase your FTP? So this is work. So this right here is just total work in kilojoules moving average against your estimated FTP, which is taking into account lots of different types of effort. So if it was on over 7 days, something like that, when you might not have done many efforts, yeah, it'd be pretty bad. But over 42 days, you're probably going to eventually done some sort of efforts that'll feed the model. So yeah, that's really pretty good. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I guess that's probably my VO2 max block. Um, but basically, that's pretty as good of a correlation as you're going to get. More volume, FTP goes up. Intensity is more intensity, more kilojoules FTP, helping my FTP there. And so I think, yeah, some people might critique me and think, oh, okay, so you've just seen that more volume has helped your FTP go higher consistently, so you coach everyone else like that. Okay, but what are we finding with the others? I'm also finding that more volume is doing nothing really for my EF there. Well, you're not maybe a bit more than some other people, not that much. Yeah, I mean, the correlation's hard to pick up, but okay, so let's just show you it's really not just me. Let's find some other clients. Okay, and in fact, this is where I started feeling more reassured because I start going through my other clients and looking at does more volume equal higher FTP? Yes, pretty good correlation there. More intensity? Yeah, correlation, but not as good as that. Okay, so that's pretty good correlation. More volume is higher FTP. And it just so happens that as I go through every single one of my other clients and we look at does more volume equal more FTP? Yes, pretty good correlation again. More intensity with this particular person, almost the worst correlation with more intensity and more FTP that I've seen. There's just nothing going on there. Is it? More volume, more FTP, pretty clear. Have a look at this individual. More volume, more FTP, pretty clear. More intensity, more FTP. Yeah, in this lower volume client, basically they tend to be doing more of everything and they're doing more intensity, but you can see that's a much clearer correlation. Now let's have a look at this person I've consulted with. This person's actually a triathlete, so whatever we can take or not from that. More volume, more FTP, pretty clear. More intensity, more FTP, less clear. Okay. Great. And then this particular client, now we'll get on to the one who I was concerned about having, done less intensity with this client and more volume. But has that increases FTP? Does that increases FTP? Yeah, pretty good. So a few more examples now before we try and start explaining why this is the case. Compare. I think you're just getting the picture now that there we go. There's a nice one. More volume, more FTP. More intensity, more FTP. Not maybe, not really. Just get one more example now. Or two more. This is a penultimate example. More volume, more FTP, more intensity, more FTP. Maybe no. And I think this individual goes back and forth from altitude, and I think without that, the model would be better fed and even stronger correlation we'd see there. Let's have a look at one more client who, again, someone, looking back at that, what affected their EF, it was pretty clear that volume was doing nothing for their EF, whereas intensity was. And when we actually look at their FTP, we've got the exact opposite. Intensity is doing, there's just that's like if you just said ChatGPT, draw me a graph with like some random plots that has no correlation either way, it would be this. It would look like that. Just no correlation between more intensity, more kilojoules in FTP and their FTP. And then we have a look at more volume, more FTP. That's pretty good correlation. So interestingly, see, first time we increase their volume, year one, big increase in FTP right when they do more volume. This year, we get to a certain point, with training status, you can't increase your volume as much. You just can't. There's only so many hours in the day now which you can recover from. And this person does also work to a job. And then also, you're just getting closer to your genetic potential. So it's still a very good correlation, more volume, higher FTP, but not as steep as the previous year. So that's also quite interesting. So what is going on here? So let's just use here. So talk about central versus peripheral adaptations. Let's get a nice diagram up. So first of all, we'll talk about just the Fick equation. Okay. So when we've got looking at central versus peripheral adaptations, so even VO2 max, which is a limiter in FTP, a nice simple one. So that's they're all written different. So yeah, basically the Q times A, that's your central component. So this is what EF will largely explain. But then minus VO2 difference. So what is this? Arterial minus. Yeah, so that's what's confusing me here, because Q is a stroke factor. I don't like the way this is written. This one's better. Yeah, so here we go. Like cardiac output, stroke volume times A minus V O2. So that's arterial minus venous O2 difference. So that's the difference. In fact, we'll get something up. That's the difference in, they measure the blood that comes out of your artery and the blood that comes out of your vein, how much oxygen there is. And the difference in that is telling you how much blood is being extracted from the muscle. So measurements of A minus V O2, because this is a horrendous thing to have done, but you've got to think people have done it. People have done it. Study or uh, how can we get this up now? Um, measurement AVO2 difference study. That didn't do it, did it? Tubes, vein and artery. We're not going to get that's going to be too hard. Okay. Anyway, so we go back back to back. Yeah, back to our thick equation again. So what our low intensity volume does is it works on this AVO2 difference part, the VO2 max. So if you've got, so your heart can be delivering as much, your stroke volume can get as big as you want, but if that blood's being pumped to the muscle and then your muscle can't actually take any of that oxygen out and use it, it's not really any use to you because like you're not actually getting the oxygen. So this is why for a good example of this is, also something that might help illustrate this is swimmers will probably have these peripheral adaptations, in their upper body, but less so in their legs, and runners and cyclists vice versa. So these peripheral adaptations are also a bit sport specific. So more volume is going to work on that, and what I'm kind of seeing in is from this is that it's potentially a way to use looking at these two charts differently is a way to look at, is someone more centrally or peripherally limited and what's working for them in their training. So as we can see, like the intensity, it does drive the EF because that's working on our stroke volume. But the um, the low intensity stuff, yes, it's not the low intensity stuff. Yes, it's not really doing anything for your stroke volume, or once you're more well trained, but it is actually increasing your threshold a lot. And this is because there's even VO2 max, which underpins FTP, has so looking at EF looks at the stroke volume, doesn't account towards the VO2 doesn't count for the VO2 difference. So it's not accounting. So it's not actually a good proxy to VO2 max. And then when you're actually looking at FTP, that's even more dependent on peripheral versus central adaptations and VO2 maxes. And that's why you're seeing these really strong correlations with more volume and more FTP. So yeah, in conclusion, does more volume make your FTP higher? Yeah, in most cases, to a point, it does. How do you know whether you need to focus more on volume or intensity? Well, that's when you can look at the individual response of like we found some athletes here that their EF was just not changing. Well, no, let's say for this, but yeah, for this example, like one like if you can't if you're at lower training volume, then I'd say focus less on intent. If you're able to just do more volume, then do that first of all, because like it's the response is going to be pretty much indistinguishable. So like yeah, even more volume can increase your EF. Then as you start to become more well trained, it can become a limiter, and you're going to then want to look at uh, doing work above FTP. All work above FTP has potential to be VO2 max work. to a greater or lesser extent. So you're going to then want to start doing that, focusing more on that to further increase your FTP. So if any of that makes sense, or if you've got any questions or you know more about that, I might try and do this video again with better preparation. But just hope you enjoyed, and yeah, until next time.